Dan Mangan hanging out here at the Peak. So Dan, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Nice to be back here.
We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about today. Do we want to talk about the new record or going on Dragon's Den first?
Yes.
Whatever you like, man. I'm an
Dealer's
open book.
choice.
Yeah, dealer's choice. You drive. Where are we
Okay,
going?
let's talk about Dragon's Den. Then we'll slide into the record.
Well, then we'll
All
move
right.
some records. We'll move some units. Okay, Dan, you're gonna be on Dragon's Den. You're gonna talk to the guy who's crashed the boat and someone died.
Is he still on the show? Who is that?
I don't know. Which guy's that one?
That's the guy, the gray-haired guy. He's a curmudgeon. He's like
the
a
angry one.
financier.
Vincenzo?
He's like
No.
it was his wife driving the boat.
So
I
they
can't remember.
claim.
There's like Kevin O'Leary's not on there.
Yeah,
anymore.
Leary. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
you
thinking
know what?
of.
I think that
Leary.
was him, but he's
That
not
was
on the
him.
show anymore.
You're not on the show anymore?
He's not there.
Okay, so Dan, you're on Dragon's Den on the CBC, the show that inspired so many copycats around the world. This is where some of the greatest capitalist minds just throw money at entrepreneurs like you.
Yeah.
You're on the show to talk about Side Door.
Yeah.
What is Side Door?
Side Door is a marketplace for the arts where any space is a venue. So hosts and artists connect. You can think about like backyards, living rooms, bookstores, coffee shops, etc. Hosts and artists connect right in the platform. They create shows together. You can create unique revenue splits. You sell tickets. After the show, everybody gets paid out their cut automatically right into their bank account. It's essentially it's a marketplace platform where the hope is to decentralize and democratize the live entertainment industry so that we can have a thriving middle class of artistry where artists can make a living doing what they love, whether or not they're famous.
Airbnb, but for venues.
Airbnb for shows. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
shows,
Can
exactly.
I sell merch from my backyard?
You can do anything from your backyard.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea is that like we didn't invent the house concert.
Yeah.
But we're trying to normalize or like mainstream the idea that it wouldn't be weird to host something in your place, and also to, go to a neighbor's place and buy a ticket and go to a show a couple blocks over.
I went to some
like
house
that.
parties, like house concerts in Victoria back in the day before Side Door was invented. They were super fun.
Yeah, and you know what? Like when I was getting started, I would if I played to 30 people in a club, I'd get paid in beer tickets, and then if I played to 30 people in someone's living room or backyard or something like that,
cash tickets.
I'd make
Cash
like
money?
$500.
Yeah, cash money.
I walk away with like an envelope full of cash money.
Yeah.
And then
Wait a minute.
this is different, I can't,
Yeah.
so it was just a way to extract way more value and momentum and excitement out of something small. And so the idea is that like if your footprint cannot be wide, let it be deep, like a fox paw in the snow, if you will. Like if you can't sell 1,000 tickets, have the most memorable night ever with 40 people. And everyone will walk away from that experience feeling like they have a good sense of you, not only as a musician or an artist, but as a person. And then the next time you come back to that town, they want you to win. They want to invite all their friends. They want to make sure that you have a good support network in that town.
Because you're creating an intimate experience.
Exactly. And that's how I started. Like that's how I got built, the sort of base of my fan base was coming from going and just doing really small events like all over the place in small towns and big towns everywhere.
And so it's Side Door. And so if you have a space that you want to host an artist, you can go to Side Door
Absolutely.
and sign up. Or if you're an artist and you're looking for a space, you can go and sign up.
That's right. Yeah, you could create a profile in just a couple minutes. And artists and hosts alike can create what's called a show call, which is sort of like you're broadcasting your availability, what you're looking for. And then, so let's say you're an artist here in Vancouver and you create a show call. That show call would go to, 300 or 400 hosts in the greater Vancouver area saying, so-and-so is looking for a show. Here's what they're looking to accomplish, whatever. Here's the date frame, all that kind of stuff.
I get those emails because I signed up for Side Door.
Amazing.
To try to get you to play.
That's
in
right.
the
Yes,
Big
that's right.
Lounge.
That's right.
I got denied. But now I get the emails from
But now
bands
I'm
being
here.
like, I'll be in Vancouver. Yeah.
So we went on Dragon's Den and it airs. I don't know when this is going to air, but
When does Dragon's Den air?
Thursday the 3rd. So in a couple days.
Okay, in a couple days.
Yes.
All right. So you can't tell us at this time the results.
I cannot tell you
I
what.
can't
Okay.
wait there to find out.
I
What was your
know.
question about the Side Door? You had a question about the Side Door
So,
specifically.
Yes. Now, Dan Mangan, you grew up in Vancouver.
Go Grey Ghosts.
Go Grey
Grey
Ghosts. Okay. We went to the same high school. Years
Friends with
apart.
Colby Smulders.
Friends with
forever.
Colby
Bing
Smulders,
forever.
right?
Yeah,
Bing
yeah,
forever,
yeah.
right? Okay. So I'm wondering, as soon as I heard about Side Door and I knew that it was your project, I thought to myself, oh my God, did he name it after the side door on West Broadway?
Legendary
underage drinking establishment that I went to in the 90s. Is that what
we
you
all went
named
there.
it?
Yeah,
We all went there.
yeah. So the side door was on Broadway, and it was like. Yeah, it was. I remember like they had like drink special Wednesdays or something,
Yes,
and you
they
could get a
did.
highball for like 75 cents.
Oh,
and
it was
like,
obscene.
It was
ridiculous.
insane.
The 90s were a hell of a drug.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
They really
and
were.
Kids don't know.
And I remember, like, they would accept dodgy IDs and fake IDs and stuff like that.
And it was actually a side door. It was like this long kind of tunnel down the side of like a bike shop or something.
It was
and then
above
you go
like
up
a
set of
Greek
stairs.
travel agency or
That's
something
right,
like that.
that's
And it was
what
right
it
beside
was.
maybe like the Regal Beagle area.
Yes.
And like I definitely spent a lot of nights at the side door. But you know who named side door actually? Who
Okay.
came up because we were coming like, oh, should we call it like living room or we had all these, and it was Zach Gray from the Zolas. He came over for a beer one night, and Laura, my co-founder, was in town, and we were just like, this is the early days back in like 2016, 2017, and Zach was over, and we were talking about the idea and what we wanted to do, and he was riding his bike home, and the idea popped in his head, and he texted me from his bike ride, and he said, side door. I think side door is a great name. And the more I thought about it, it's perfect. It speaks to access, intimacy, like coming around the side door of a house where, all of those things. So it's...
And we know Zach Gray did underage drinking in the 90s on
Yeah.
Broadway.
That's right. And
It's
also,
canceled.
you know what? I also like, I still like that, maybe that was part of it.
Totally,
maybe the
totally.
side
That
door
was
of the bar
back
was
there.
maybe back there.
It was Zach that helped you come up with the name. Zach was there.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
definitely it crossed my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of crossed my mind.
All right, so new record came out last week, Being Somewhere, chill record.
Thank
Chill
you.
record, Dan.
Yes.
Very chill.
Yeah.
Lots of vibes.
A lot.
I go deep on there. Fire Escape, we're playing on the radio all the
Yeah.
time.
Thank
Sounds
you very
amazing.
much for doing that.
But I go a little deeper, and you got a song there for Scott Hutchinson on Frightened
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Yeah, that's right.
What's going on there?
So, I mean, he was very vocal about his struggles with, mental health.
He sings directly about how he did on one of his records.
I know, yeah. And so we lost him in 2018, as you know, jumped in the river. And
That he sings about.
And so, he was in the fourth. And he had a song called The Woodpile, which maybe you're familiar with.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
chorus
yeah.
of that song, he says, "Would you come back to my corner? Spent too long alone tonight." And that chorus, that song is amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. And he's talking about being at a party, kind of feeling alone in a sea of people, and he just like needs a familiar kinship, meet him in the corner. And so this song, In Your Corner, is sort of a direct response to The Woodpile. And I sing, so come find us if you can, we'll be unified and sad, we'll be in your corner. And it's a response. And it's, essentially all the things that I would have loved to have said to Scott if I had the chance. I didn't know him well. We'd met at Glastonbury maybe a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
But he had many mutual friends, the Winter Sleep guys, Broken Social Scene guys. When he passed, it just totally crushed me. I was a mess for a while, even though I barely knew him. And I think it was because he was this sort of gregarious, sweet, funny, very sharp-witted, very quick guy, and he created so much joy for so many other people. And it's just like Robin Williams, like that thing where like they create joy for others, but they can't feel it themselves.
Yeah.
The brain playing tricks on them. Anyhow, so the song As It Lives and Breathes Now, I mean, it's for Scott, but I think as we all do our ups and downs, our big swoops of peaks and valleys, the song is for anybody. It's for all of us, anyone who's like currently in the down swoop of mental stability.
Yeah.
And, it's for anyone who could use those words.
Well, we're all being somewhere at some moment, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, that title, it's a bit of a take on the Peter Sellers movie Being There. From I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, Shirley MacLaine. It's like,
I don't know if I've seen that one. But
oh my God, it is amazing.
well-
1979, I think it's
Okay,
all.
I'll have to look it up.
But an incredible film. Anyways, but I was thinking about if I name my album Being Somewhere, I'm going to get asked, what does that mean, being somewhere? And I the way it's like, I think sometimes that's how existing feels like.
Yes.
You're just being somewhere.
Yeah, like here I am. I don't know where I am, but here I am.
I'm somewhere, and
Somewhere.
here I am. I'm being.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of. I mean, I think that the whole I mean, it was recorded during the pandemic over 2.5 years, completely long distance. Producer Drew Brown was in Chicago. He was sending the tracks to LA and to London and all over the place. And it was this sort of displaced record made between a bunch of creative people and all over the world. And it just seemed like an appropriate title, you know. And I think it's my best work. I think it's the best thing I've ever touched.
I think it kind of makes sense a little bit when you kind of talk about it being sent all over the place like that. Because when I was listening to it and you recorded during the pandemic, I heard a lot of almost like electronic kind of sounds buried in your, you know, it's not just like singer-songwriter jam. There's also these electronic elements in there. Even the drums kind of feel like almost like programmed at times.
Yeah, well, there's actually only like a proper drum kit on 2 of the
Okay, so
songs.
then, I was listening to it. I'm like, oh, am I hearing it wrong? Or so that's kind of how it was.
A lot of the percussion. I mean, some of the songs just don't have drums, but a lot of the percussion is.
It's very sparse too. When it is there, it's like it's not some guy smashing away most of the time.
Drew, I mean, every element has to be so juicy for him to accept it within the song, but he never really wants that much. Like, he likes to keep it sparse. He likes to keep it minimal. And so I don't know, like the songs have this, they're full, but there's always space. Like, there's always room to breathe. It never feels completely saturated. And I think that you compare that to a lot of music these days, that's different, you know.
Yeah, which can be a lot.
Everything right now has like that screaming vocal that's got to screech across the food court to catch people in the Subway restaurant. You know, it's like, so the record, I think it's a bit of a grower, and I think that that's really exciting to me because all my favorite records were like that, like Kid A and Yankee Hotel Foxtrot and In the Airplane Over the Sea. These records that like formed my musical identity back when I was a teenager, you know. And I love that this record, it requires something of the listener. You have to dig in, you have to lean forward, and it will reward you if you're willing to give it that.
Now, you're going to be at the Fox Cabaret on February 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sort of a regular show? Like, you're going to play some new stuff, some old stuff?
It's, okay, so in the last year or so, I found myself a handful of times doing small town shows without the band, just on my own. And this is something that like came together. It didn't make sense to hire the band to do it for me, you know, whatever. And I would play like 3 songs on a set list, and then I would just ditch the set list and just take requests and tell stories for like sometimes like 2.5 hours. And it was so fun. It was just like hanging out in a room full of people. And I was like, man, like these small town solo shows were so fun.
And these are Dan Mangan fans coming?
Yeah.
People who know you, they're familiar with your work, so they're making a request.
And they're asking for deep cuts from like 4 records ago, you know? And it was so great. And I thought, I never get to do this in big cities. Like, it's just in big city, you do a big show, you know, big venue.
Yeah, it's hard to have
band.
people at the Orpheum yell song requests.
Yeah, just like it is not right. And so we decided we're going to do a big hometown brouhaha show with the full band, etc. But in the meantime, I wanted to just do a handful of small rooms. So we're doing the Fox in Vancouver. We're doing Longboat Hall in Toronto. Very small rooms, just me and a guitar, take requests, tell stories, hang out for a couple hours.
Nice. Fun.
That we got told, Alexis was telling us like how you didn't love playing robots, but then your daughter requested it. I think it was playing here in the Peak Lounge, and then you were like, I guess I'm playing robots. My daughter is the one that chirped that at me.
If my own child is requesting it.
Well, it was, I fell out of love with that song for a while. And it was, you know what it was? We were at the Peterborough Folk Festival, and we had maxed out our time or whatever. And they were like, oh, we got to cut it. We have to turn off the PA. It's like we're up against the, anyway. Yeah. And so we went into the crowd, and everyone surrounded us, and we just did a campfire style, and everyone sang the whole song. And then, because the thing is with that song, people were just waiting for the ending because they want to sing along.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, don't wait for the ending. Just sing the whole thing with us. And it worked great. And it was so fun. And seeing all the little kids, kind of singing. They love it, And I get sent videos all the time of little, like, 3-year-olds singing robots or something, parents sending me their kid. There's something about that song that appeals to children, and now that I'm a parent,
Gets you right in the
I'm
feels.
a big tender dude.
Yeah.
And so
Dan needs love too.
so I've come back around, and we've brought it back into the show for sure. And
Nice.
And that's what I do now is I get everyone to sing the whole thing, and I
sing it all
step
or I
away from
ain't
the PA
playing it.
and just kind of do a campfire style.
Last thing I guess we'll talk to you about, Dan, before you go, only because Jason Manning, music director here at the Peak, was like, ask him about In-N-Out Burger. You're beaking off about In-N-Out
man.
Burger on the social media.
I've just always, every time I'm in California or Oregon, or I guess they're also in a few other states.
Nevada, yeah.
Nevada. Like I'd once per trip, I'd be like, I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I'd be like, I gotta do it. And I just found out that they donated to a whole bunch of like anti-LGBTQ and anti-abortion stuff, and their owners are kind of like
Not
crazy.
maybe the people you'd normally hang out with kind of
yeah,
thing.
just like off the charts, like radical right wing.
Wait, wah, wah.
Yeah,
You're like, I just want animal style fries. Can I get animal style fries without feeling like an
want the
idiot?
burger without feeling like I'm supporting this like terrible overlord thing. Control
disappointing.
freak.
It's
Yeah.
disappointing. It's very
So
disappointing.
now what? It's going to be Sonic. It's going to be Smash Burger.
I gotta find a new burger joint in California. I guess.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
there's another one in
You know
that
what?
state.
I think they have a few burger companies.
There might be a few burger companies.
All right, Dan, thanks for hanging out with us
My
today.
pleasure.
and
Thank you so
Talking
much,
about
guys.
showing up on Dragon's Den to talk about Side Door, and of course your new record, Being Somewhere.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.